Hey everyone, Spicy Toast Gaming here. Just finished my interview with a senior game designer over at Riot, that being Brian Kopleck. It was a fantastic interview. We got a lot of information revealed. Really look forward to next week as we're going to get this massive update. But here is the interview. Enjoy. Live. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you so much to Brian for the interview. Really is a privilege to be able to sit down somewhat and be able to talk with some of the people over at Riot. To start off, could you introduce yourself to the chat?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everybody. So I'm Brian Kopleck, or Riot B Kopleck. I've been a lead game designer. I am a lead game designer on Legends of Runeterra. I've been on the team for just about 3 years now. I led the Gloria Navori and Heart of the Huntress card sets, but specifically Jack and Set are like the two champs that I really poured myself into. Those are my babies. And then I designed the path kits for Samira, Nidalee, Nico, Elise, and Nora, and I did the initial set of Epic Relics. So pretty happy with those.
Yeah, definitely. Those are all some of my favorite champions. Let's jump right into the questions. Up first, any update on Constellations? They were released or revealed a couple months ago, but we haven't really heard anything since.
Yes. So this is great. Nice start to the interview because Constellations are launching next patch, which is May 22nd. So next week,
Awesome.
we've got 20 new champions, a bunch of new powers, upgrades to collect, as well as just like a general change in the economy, a lot of new rewards all over the place. So there'll be some new quests, new adventure rewards, stuff like that. And we've got some stuff to spoil later in this interview that I'm excited about.
20 new champions is pretty insane. I guess
Yes.
You guys have been stockpiling those for a while.
Yeah. I'd be remiss. Like the team has been working very hard on this, but I'd also be remiss to not give a shout out to Riot Dirtle, who's the other design lead, who put in so much effort on polishing up all 20 of those champions. They are all very fun to play. So really excited to see what y'all do with them.
Yeah, that is going to be insane. I'm going to have way too much content to try to put out.
Good.
Follow up kind of on the Constellations. Will their upgrade system be linear? So we get 1 point, 1 power, and then the next? Or is it going to be a little bit more branching where we have some leeway in what we choose?
You will get some leeway in what you choose. Yeah. So the stars 1 through 3, those will be linear as you expect with other champions. But after you buy your 3rd star, the constellation will open up, and it's not going to be consistent across every constellation. They hopefully you'll see sometime soon, but they are literally drawn as constellations across a starry sky, and they are mapped out as such. So it is a web of upgrades.
Awesome. Moving on then, a little bit about the monthly challenges. So Aurelion Sol has been sitting there as the reward for the monthlies for quite a long time. Any update for the monthly challenge rewards, or when Aurelion Sol might get kind of moved off as the champion in there?
Yeah, so we don't have a date locked in for when we're going to remove Aurelion Sol. I'm sure we discussed, like we told players that we would do this previously at some point. I don't think I was involved in those conversations. I actually don't know how long ago that happened. But I personally like Aurelion Sol as it's a good long-term goal for new players. Today is actually button day, so we just put the lore button in the league client. So we expect a pretty reasonable influx of new players, and I think that it's reasonable for them to have a very obvious and nice way to collect this very powerful champion. But we are updating the monthly rewards, so if you'd like to show that off to players.
All right, so here's all of the new rewards. Some things that initially just immediately jumped out to me is the fact that we're getting rewarded every 5 wins now instead of every 10. I think that's going to be really big, because I know I get questions all the time of should I do the monthlies? And so it's yes, as long as you can get at least 10 wins. So letting people get rewarded for even more wins is going to be awesome. Also, I'll say there's some new stuff in here that we've never seen before.
Yes, it's not yet time to talk about those things, but yeah, we're jam packing this with a bunch of rewards. I also recognize that not everyone loves monthlies, so as we move forward, we'll be looking for ways to reward you for no matter what you're engaging in. But for now, we're going to use monthlies as that vessel.
Also, I'll just shout out at 10 wins, you get those cosmic blessings, which boost up your way to level up champions. So that's actually pretty nice because those used to be down in the middle. So that can really help people level up their champions a lot faster. So that is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I did want to bribe people to just try monthlies. Look, all you need 5 wins. I'll give you 10 wild fragments. Just try it. Maybe you'll like it.
That is definitely going to be very helpful because monthlies, they'll be really rewarding and really helping people level up their account. I recently just made a low level account, so I kind of could see the new player experience. And yeah, when you unlock monthlies, it's actually pretty hard to get any wins. And so you might only be able to get 5-10 wins when you first unlock them. But those rewards will actually really incentivize players to immediately jump in and try to just get as far as they can. So that's awesome. That is a great addition to the game.
Happy to hear it.
Next up, so Runeterra had a expansion every 3 months where we got new champions, new card reveals, all that sort of thing. With the change in scope over to PvE and the kind of the downsizing of the team, Riot announced before that expansions aren't going to be happening the same way moving forward. So how can we expect card releases to look going forward?
Yeah. So we are still figuring this out. The team has been super heads down on constellations for the last few months, but we have been putting some thought into it. We do have plans to release at least one brand new champion later this year. So not from the roster backlog, a brand new champion.
Okay.
And while I can't say who now, we have commissioned art for a handful of other champions. So we are including some top fan favorites. So we have put some effort behind it.
When you say new, is it new to the universe or new to Runeterra? Is it something from League of Legends or brand new Runeterra champion? Or can you not say?
We are definitely adding champions from existing league. That's when I say top fan favorites. We're pulling from there as well.
Okay.
But we are leaving the door open for brand new lore exclusives. We'll see.
Okay. And then in somewhat line with the last question, normally those expansions would have a event pass. Sadly, for the last one, we didn't have an event pass because Riot, you guys said that you were working on improving them. Can you give us any details on how you're trying to improve those event passes going forward?
Yes. So it gets a little in the weeds, but the improvement that we need to make is making them easy to reuse from a technical standpoint. It's just the way that they were constructed. They ended up having a lot of one-off work. And this isn't actually too hard to do, but a refrain you'll hear me say often is that the entire team has been very hands on deck on constellations. But we are actively working on them again, right now. And it's I've seen players react to it. So it seems that everyone likes them because we like them as well. So we're happy to get them back. And we're interested in running them fairly regularly. In the meantime, recognizing that we won't have events for this next patch, we're doing a set of free quests with similar rewards. So that'll give out some fragments, nice. Some Stardust, some of the new goodies to kind of mimic the feeling of an event, and that's just free. So,
one thing also kind of tied in there: how often do you think we'll be able to expect events going forward? Before it was every 3 months. Is it going to be a different sort of cadence or something similar?
Yeah, we are aiming for more frequent than that. I don't know that we can lock in anything yet, but yeah,
that will be great because that was one thing I was just talking with Stream the other day is adding more events, more engagement, more reasons to sign in is definitely awesome addition to the game. So I definitely look forward to more frequent events because every 3 months was a little rough.
Yeah.
You guys recently released, or somewhat recently released, the Lissandra adventure. Is the team happy with the reception that adventure has gotten? And then what, if any, lessons did you guys actually learn with releasing that adventure?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we see some good in it, some less good. Generally, just believe it's better to have it out there than to not. So I'm glad we turned it on early rather than waiting for Constellations. The good stuff that we saw is that some players really do like being challenged. So like seeing the community bounty board was just like a really cool moment. The fact that y'all beat her with every champion within a week, I'm pretty sure, was pretty awesome. But the less good is that, like, yeah, the difficulty spike on Lissandra herself was really intense. Hard countering a very specific archetype could be fine, but when we haven't released a new adventure in a long time, and it's like, here's the brand new shiny thing, and it just hard counters maybe the way you want to play, that's kind of frustrating. So for me, the ultimate lesson is like intense challenges like that should be opt-in, because there are those players who really love to do them. But for people who don't love to do it, you should have access to power that beats it. If you're just like, the level of skill required is not where you're having fun, then we should let you have a way to like overcome that challenge. Or there just shouldn't be rewards on the line. It should be something crazy like beating Lissandra with 0-star Vex, where it's like, yeah, you can do it. You know, that's awesome. I'll shout you out in a tweet. But yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely the reception I saw from a lot of people. And they asked me like what I thought of the Lissandra adventure and if there was like a failure or not. And I was like, it depends on what Riot was going for. If they were going for something that was like tough as nails and something really hard, then 100% nailed it. Some people are going to love that. If they're looking for something to kind of replace Aurelion Sol as like a fun adventure that you can go through that's still a bit of a challenge, that's definitely not the case.
No.
But yeah, I figured that you guys were trying to do something tough as nails.
Yeah. Yep.
So I've loved the fact that we've been getting all of the new champions that released with the expansions in the game day one, because I knew that didn't used to be the case. I still feel bad about the fact that Aatrox was the only one from that one expansion. Yeah. That felt pretty bad. So that's great that we've been getting all new champions. But now that the champion releases are going to be slowing down, is the team planning on shifting their focus over to the existing roster of Runeterra champions and adding those into Path of Champions?
Yes. So we have some champ popularity data that we've been perusing. I've also seen like the surveys that the subreddit has held about who they want to see next, which is awesome. I will actually turn it back on you. Who would you want to see the most?
I've always said that Sion would actually be my favorite person to get added in, because I think his entire kit and like for me, theme of the cards has always been really important over even gameplay. So for me, a Sion deck themed around all of his giant units would be amazing. I always also really like the villain kind of focused decks. So some other ones like Viego has always been a top one that I think would be really fun and interesting to add into the game.
Yeah. That's great. You've teed me up perfectly. So Viego will be coming in Constellations next week. And we can actually go through his Constellation right now if you'd like to bring that up.
All right. So here we have the Viego Constellation. Let's go ahead and, oh my word. So yep, there's the 6 stars. That is going to be a little weird to get used to. Not used to that, but let's go through and take a look at this. All right, so I see that those branching paths there. That's just each round the first time you slay an ally, summon an encroaching mist. Awesome.
Yeah, this is 1 star.
Yep. 2 star, when an ally with 4 or more power dies, reduce the cost of all 4 or higher power cost allies in hand by 1. Interesting. So it's only in hand, but that's a way you can try to cheat out your Viego, as well as some other your bigger units. That can be fun to play around.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 3 star. Go ahead.
Oh, the encroaching mists start naturally turning that on.
Good call. Like, they're going to be over 4 power pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
And each round, the first time you slay an ally, goodness, Each round, the first time you slay an ally and the first time you slay an enemy, summon encroaching mist. So more generation, also helping you scale up your mists even faster, because that can be pretty crazy, something for you to try to play around.
Yeah. And so now that you've passed the 3-star, this is when we start branching out.
So 8 regen. What does that mean?
Yeah, so regen is a new adventure stat that we've added. So similar to Nexus Health and rerolls and gold, regen is now a new stat in that tier. Regen is when you win a combat encounter, heal your Nexus by that amount.
Okay.
So yeah, this is like you've seen this on like a relic or two, and I think there's a power out there that does it. But we wanted to incorporate that more into the game to give kind of champions this different texture of like maybe Elder Dragon has 100 Nexus health but 0 regen, so it's just like you get what you get. Versus a ninja or like a more martial fighter like Shen or Lee Sin or something. Lee Sin especially might have very low Nexus health but really high regen. So each fight you can like take several licks and then just like heal up at the end. So you just like work with what you got. Like, as long as you get through the encounter, you're gravy. So we're hoping that changes the texture of some of these champions.
That's definitely very interesting. I like making champions feel very different, because that is a problem some champions have of feeling very similar to other champions. And also, yeah, adding this regen mechanic will be amazing, because people always ask me what's the best common relic to throw on, especially when you're leveling the champion. And often I say Star Child Staff, because that extra regen is very helpful. Like just 5 every time, it can really help you get through adventures because you're not getting whittled down. So that is very good. But let's go back and keep going through this. So 8 regen, that's a lot. All right, Star of Legends. So support champs have Studded Leather, Phage, or Titan's Axe based on their cost. Interesting. Yeah, we've never seen something like that before, that is kind of reliant on the champion, so you get more rewarded for picking higher champions.
Yeah. Yeah, so as well as like this is just showing constellations are going to have upgrades for like the meta game around your champion. It's not going to be as specific as like your exact match will be modified by the upgrade that you got. In this case, this is like now whenever you see support champions, they're going to be stronger. And hopefully I see as a base cost or current cost. It would be on the support champion's base cost. So the more expensive they are, the more the better stat item they'll get.
And do you have the breakpoint for all of these?
I don't off the top of my head. It would have been good for me to pull that up.
All right, let's keep going then. Shape of Fear has Stopwatch. Is Shape of Fear kill your own unit to summon a Mist Wraith?
Good news. If you play the video for like one more second, I do hover over those things.
Okay.
Because I figured
right.
Yep.
So 1 cost burst because of the stopwatch. That'll be really good. Awesome.
Yeah. We are getting we are looking to use stopwatch in more cases where there's just like it can also just make the game feel better. This is certainly one of those.
Please add stopwatch to coin. It is so painful not having that anymore.
Oh, that one's tough for me. I'll consider it.
Shadow Isles followers you acquire in adventures have pickaxe. I really like this because it's actually giving you more upgrades to focus on a playstyle and your drafting throughout the adventure. So actually having more of a reason to pick higher level champions or higher cost champions because you get that better stats. Here, picking up Shadow Isles followers, so you can actually get that extra stats as well. That is a great addition in my opinion. That is wonderful.
Yeah, we're really excited about this as well because like it can struggle for the shop to matter as your like champ gets pretty upgraded and you're like, it's gonna do what it's gonna do. I don't actually need to add any cards to this thing. And so finding ways where we can make the shop feel worthwhile again is like a pretty exciting space for us. And so in this case, it's Shadow Isles followers, but some cards just say any damaging spell you acquire will have Charging Sigil, stuff like that.
That's definitely amazing because there's so many champions that you don't care about, you actively avoid shops, or if you go to a shop, you just try to get a power, don't look at anything because you don't want to fill up your hand. So having more of a reason to go through and try to draft cards is awesome. But let's keep on going here.
Yeah.
Game start, get a mana gem. So we'll start with 3 mana then.
Yep.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, so that is this one is shared across all champions. They will all have the ability to get a 4th mana gem, or sorry, 3rd mana gem. Counting. So I think there's like 1 or 2 champs that like very slightly modify that, but they all end up with another mana gem. We refer to this as the 5th star power, just internally, even though you can get them out of order, but that's just how we kind of keep track of it.
Okay. Support cards have a additional item, so that's just like a random roll then?
Yeah. As we get near the kind of fringes of the constellation, the upgrades here kind of are meant to be more like gilding on like, my champion is plenty strong already. I just want to fill the whole thing out.
Okay.
What are some rewards that just make it just the cherry on top of on stuff like this? So like, yeah, your support champs will be very lit once you have this and the previous like support champ item.
No, it's just all support cards. So the champion and then the 2 cards they come with each will have just a random item on them.
Yep.
All right. Awesome. 5% chance to get epic items and powers, 1% to get legendaries. So just kind of what you just said, adding some extra gilding to it, making just flat better, and just not really kind of changing how you play, but just making you more likely to be stronger.
I see one question about, wait, you can unlock all of them at once? I thought you'd have to choose. Yes, you can unlock every star in a constellation. You do not make a choice at any time, other than like, if I have like this amount of currency and I have to pick one star or the other for now, you still will be able to go buy the other star later.
Okay.
Just to clarify that.
100% XP for Shadow Isles champions.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So, as you are leveling up any future Shadow Isles champions, Viego or any future Shadow Isles champions, they will level twice as fast. They will get an additional plus 100% XP.
Interesting. That is definitely something I never would have seen coming, but that is a very nice addition to your account and just more reason to level up these characters because it's going to help any future characters you get. That is, a really nice bonus that, while it's not necessarily affecting your main champion, because by the time you get this, I assume they're, well, who knows? Maybe people like me will just get this right away, but probably already leveled. This will help all future champions. That actually is a pretty awesome addition.
Yeah, there's no reason for us to like, after you've advanced champions to this point, like we don't need to make you go through those early levels at such a slow pace anymore. Like you know what's up. So
yeah, I'll definitely say that's one of the biggest complaints I see. And like for me, I'm more fine with grinding. It's not that big of a deal for me, but I know for a lot of people, they don't like how grindy the game can be. And so this, in addition to the monthly challenges where you're getting those blessings very early now, will really help what most people would have say is like the weakest part of the game, with it taking so long to level champions. So mitigating that with some of these is a great addition.
Glad to hear it.
All right, let's keep moving on then. So 4+ regen for Shadow Isles champions. So just similar to the last one, I'm guessing this is going to help all future Shadow Isles champions, including Viego, and you just get 4 extra health every time you successfully clear a challenge or a battle. All right, awesome. That is, again, just a really good,
straightforward,
really good upgrade.
Yeah.
Okay, allies have Overwhelm. Always solid to have. Very simple, straightforward, but really good.
Yeah, so this is what we call internally the 4th star power. Sad that Viego has them out of order, but that's
Okay.
fine. Again, we don't actually mind what order you unlock these things. So the 4-star power for every champion is a power that will be in the pool. It'll be in the random pool.
Okay.
But the when you buy it on the champion, you will always start with it. And we tried to pick ones that you're never mad to see that. Like your Viego is always happy to have overwhelm on all of his encroaching mists and just like getting through as much damage as possible. So that's kind of like the powers won't be like you'll see with the 6-star. Those are very powerful. They're powers in the pool. They're not going to be like crazy, but you're like, oh, I would have taken that, and now I don't have to because I already have it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of champions that there's specific like common or rare powers that pretty much make them feel way better. And so having that in your kit, like for example, Ornn, his 2nd-star power, I don't really like. I think there's some issues with it. And often you want to get the common power that gives you an equipment at the start of the game. And so that's just another one of those like common powers that you want to see on your champion. It's always good to pick it up, and that's normally better than rare or other powers. That is awesome, though. Let's keep going through here. So Encroaching Mist has Skirmishing Saber. Again, really good, because that Skirmishing Saber, that gives everyone Challenger. Another just solid upgrade that you'll always want your ephemeral units to be able to kill enemy units. So that is really nice and solid there. And then last star power, let's see. So when you summon an Encroaching Mist, grant allies everywhere 1 power. That is pretty crazy, because with the first couple star powers, whenever you kill your own ally, you get it. Whenever you kill an enemy, you also get an Encroaching Mist. So yeah, you'll be able to scale up all your units. And I guess the Encroaching Mists will essentially get twice the effect because they're already scaling. Viego's already scaling because of the Encroaching Mists, and then they're also getting the extra power from this, so they're all just like scaling out of control with all of these. Yeah, that is pretty nuts.
The 6-star power is the windmill slam dunk. We definitely like when you play Lissandra, you kind of get like stat checked a lot. She just like sometimes you just can't scale, and so we did the like items you acquire have charging sigil and stuff like that, or sorry, spells you acquire have charging sigil in some cases, and like we have ways of like slightly boosting your scaling ability, but the 6-star by and large is like no, Lissandra, sit down. It's over. I'm dunking.
I also like that, especially with this 6-star, it's not only very powerful, but it's also tying into how you already want to be playing. Like for Aurelion Sol, his star powers are like kind of more of a meme of just like all your stats are doubled and all champions are like immediately leveled up. Like, while that's fun, it's not really like themed around his kit necessarily. Like, it's themed around the Aurelion Sol adventure and how we had to deal with that. But I like that for this one, it's very much themed around what you're already trying to do. It's already tying into your base kit and just further reinforcing how you want to be playing Viego. And yeah, that is pretty amazing.
Excellent. Yeah, we definitely were aiming for like this is another chance for us to show resonance with the champ and not just be like, yeah, here's more power for more power's sake. Like let's make something that still feels very Viego. In some cases, the 6-star will kind of like shift what you care about. And make the champ feel a little different to play. We didn't do that too much. It would happen naturally sometimes and feel good. But like in several cases, like with Viego, it's just like, no, keep on doing what you're doing and you're going to do it twice as big.
That is, really good. And that was one thing I was hoping with a lot of the constellations, is that it would just be working on further improving champions, bringing them kind of up in power, and not necessarily trying to fix champions that might be kind of underperforming or broken. So I really enjoy the fact, like especially with Ornn that recently got buffed up, is that wasn't part of constellations or anything like that. He just got improved so that hopefully when he gets constellations, he's going to be even better. They didn't just like fix that with the constellations. So that is great.
Yeah. We were very careful about like we don't want it to be like just like a super weak base champ, and then like the Constellation shows up, and that's where all of the power is hidden. So there are, I think, one or two instances where while we were making a champ's Constellation, we actually went back and tweaked their one and three to, or like even their 2-star to just like fit the Constellation better. I want to say we did that for Misfortune. I hope we did, because now I'm saying it live, but I'm fairly sure we did. Confident enough to say it on stream.
That's definitely good to know. I know Misfortune is, well, I like the champion. A lot of people really, one of people's most hated. They don't like him very much. Her and Gnar, sadly.
Yeah. Sorry, Captain Sarah.
Moving on then. So with the shift in focus to the PvE side of the game, Path of Champions, are we going to start getting some Path of Champions rewards in their weekly vault? Because currently it's only for collecting cards in the PvP side of the game.
Yeah. So I see this line of thought. We've talked about it internally. For now, we're just going to do new ways to get like the new stuff, the new resources and new content that we introduce, rather than like co-opt any existing systems. It's not off the table. It's just that our focus is just like, we'd rather create something new. There are still people who just like the weekly vault as is. There's, I think, 25% of our players are still PvP. So we can leave them that. Don't have to change it right away. I do recognize it's not intuitive given the new like path focus. So one thing that we are doing is that the daily quests that give you like weekly vault experience, each of those will now also give you a bronze vault. So you can get just, some extra champ frags for doing things that are like kind of fun, play a certain region a little bit, or like plant a bunch of shrooms, things that are like still fun to do in path.
That's honestly great to hear, because I cannot remember the last time I cared about those quests at all, because they just don't affect me. It's just like I get them done naturally, but I've never, or not never, I haven't gone out of my way to do that in probably over a year, because they just don't impact me at all. So that's great to hear that we actually can, as Path of Champions players, care about the other daily quests other than just the Path of Champions specific ones. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So for last like bigger discussion question, I want to talk about monetization. So I know that monetization can be a kind of tough topic. A lot of, especially players, have kind of a knee-jerk reaction against any form of monetization in their games, which can be valid when there's so many games that are over-monetized. However, Legends of Runeterra has pretty much never done that, and that's one of the reasons that I stuck with the game, because I've tried some of the other ones, but I also always stay away from other similar types of games because it's so heavily monetized. So Runeterra has always been great with that. However, that's kind of caused the issue we're in right now, where the team had to downsize and all these things because the game wasn't making enough money. So going forward, can you tell about any updates to the monetization of the game?
Yeah, so I appreciate you mentioning that it is like a sensitive topic. We definitely want to be transparent about it. We were pretty frank in the State of the Game FAQ earlier this year that like we just straight up stated like we will be more monetized going forward. But we don't want to swing the pendulum too far in the other direction, where like monetization is the end all be all. It's our only priority. We don't care if you have fun. We erode trust with players. Like that is a bad case for us. We still want to make a good game. We just also need to make sure that lore is sustainable to make. So Constellations is going to be the first step by extending the game's progression, but not being as easy to complete as before. Everything will still be obtainable for free just by playing. It just takes more work than it used to. But this first step is not a perfect step. So we'll be paying like close attention to player behavior data, feedback around this stuff. We definitely want to hear from you guys. This is just our first step at correcting what was clearly a problem. Like we all know that it's been an issue for lore. I have my own feelings about monetization in games. So the way I kind of like make myself more okay with this is that like I love making lore, and I want to be able to make lore as long as I possibly can. So that means making it a sustainable game. It's the way that we have to do it.
Right. I've had, as I've gotten older and had more of a sustainable income and seen how games have been struggling, especially Runeterra. For me personally, if I'm playing a game actively, like for months at a time, then yeah, I try to find ways to support the game, to throw them some money, because especially if it's a free-to-play game, I know that that is going to be required. And when a game is a good game and it doesn't feel like it's trying to get money out of you, then you feel even better about throwing them some money. So like some other games, like I recently played a lot of Helldivers or Deep Rock Galactic, which had very good monetization because they had almost no monetization. But because of that, you wanted to try to find some ways to still support the game because it was giving you such a good experience. So you mentioned constellations were kind of the first step. Can you give any details on what we can actually buy to try to further that constellation progression?
Yeah, so there will be bundles alongside launch, kind of at every tier. We have a little $5 bundle that I'm really happy with that is just like the welcome bundle, and that one will be on forever.
Okay.
Gives you like 60 frags of various champions. We have a little $20 launch bundle that like gets you a head start, get you some of the currencies that you'll want to upgrade your constellations. And we have a bunch more after that. So hopefully there should be something at every price point that people feel comfortable spending at if they want to support the game and just generally explore constellations.
Awesome. So one potentially smaller question. I did a stream yesterday so people could voice any questions they wanted me to ask, and like pretty much the number one question was asking about the golden reliquaries. It's a pretty long cooldown, about like 4 weeks or so. Is there any plans to reduce that at all?
Yeah, so this one's tough. Basically, we need to make sure that the golden reliquary pool of epics is like pretty much always filled up. And so if we reduce that timer too drastically, it puts a really high pressure on us to like make sure that there's something in there worth buying. Because right now, if you buy it when there's no epic relics, it gives you 3 spirit forges, which is just basically robbery.
It's terrible.
Yeah, so we don't want players to end up in that situation. We are talking about having a better like fail case. We are also adding another way that you can spend your Stardust. So there will be a node in the Emporium that rotates daily that will let you spend Stardust to upgrade certain like constellation stars, or gives you the currency to do so.
That's great, especially the fact it's going to be daily, because for a lot of the stuff in there, it's pretty rough when it's like, I want to get something else, but I have this cooldown for like weeks or just multiple days. So that is really great to hear. So that's about it for the questions I had for you, but I want to open up the floor to you just in case there was anything that you wanted to further go into or anything you wanted to say to the community.
Yeah, I mean, I really do love making like lore. I'm always honest about that, and this community has really just like been the most friendly and welcoming like game community that I've ever like worked with. So I really want to give a shout out to y'all. Super happy to see, like excited to see what y'all do with constellations, and just yeah, keep being great, honestly.
Well, thank you so much for the interview. It's been a pleasure and privilege to be able to do this. Hopefully we can do it more in the future. Thank you everyone that is watching. If you missed part of it, it'll be up on my YouTube channel later tonight. But let's all have a great time and enjoy the constellations coming out next week. See ya.